the data tell us? Embrace the channels your people are going to use, right? We have spent so much time talking to employees over the course of the last 2 decades about the importance of speaking up. See something, say something. Tell us what your issues are. And yet, we don't always work with the ways that people want to raise their hand. So, hypothetically speaking, 93% of the employees in our data set say, yep, absolutely, if I saw something, I would say something. Of course I would say something. That's what you've told me I'm supposed to do. Only 58% of them actually do. Right? So that delta from the hypothetical, absolutely, yes, of course I would say something if I saw something, to the, I'm not sure I'm actually going to say something. That is always an area of opportunity for the companies that we work with. And I would challenge each of you to think about, where are those pockets where I might have that delta in my own organization? Because employees feel empowered to raise their hand, hypothetically, but in the moment, they fail to do so. And why do they fail to do so? What drives that? 2 primary things. Fear of retaliation, and nothing's going to happen anyway, so why should I bother? Nothing's going to happen anyway, so why should I bother? I'm going to set aside for a moment because we're going to talk about that in the context of organizational justice. But let's talk about retaliation. What does retaliation look like to the average employee? If you look at the data, most employees say, who say they experience some form of retaliation for speaking up, most of them say that it's because of, most of them say that it happened in the first couple weeks after they raised a concern. Right? So if you think about the average amount of time it takes you to look at a particular issue that an employee may have raised, I believe the last stats I saw out of the large case management companies was that the average investigation is about 30 to 47 days, somewhere in there. So if I'm an employee and I raise my hand, my antenna goes up, and I'm waiting for bad things to happen, depending on how confident I am in the company's non-retaliation commitment. I'm waiting for bad things to happen, and especially in that first initial period where maybe I haven't heard from the compliance team. Maybe I haven't heard from my HR team. Maybe I haven't heard from my ER team. And I'm watching my colleagues for somebody to react negatively to the fact that I raised my hand. Are your managers prepared for that? For many companies, the answer is no. They're not. Because we don't talk about retaliation from that perspective. We talk about retaliation as what we call illegal retaliation. We talk about tangible employment action. We talk about denying somebody their vacation time, right? We don't talk about cold shoulders. We don't talk about, people stopped inviting me to lunch. We don't talk about some of the things that employees say they experience as a chilling effect on the culture, whether it's illegal retaliation or not. We have to change the dialogue. And part of the reason we have to change the dialogue is because we have to have faith. We have to help employees have faith that the company really means it when they say, nothing bad will happen if you tell us something that's going on across your organization. Part of the reason for that is, look at this pivot. If I'm an employee who says, yep, I have total faith in the non-retaliation policy. It's absolutely enforced. I understand what it says. My company means it and takes it seriously. 73% of them said, yes, I raised my hand. Right? So of that 58% that I showed earlier, the bulk of those folks were people who had faith in the non-retaliation policy. Just 34% of the people who don't believe that the non-retaliation policy is enforced actually said something when they saw something. So this is a place to spend some time. And what you don't want is you don't want this, right? I heard that after Steve came forward, they moved him to a desk near a window. Good for Steve. Issue is, he's on the ledge. He's near the window, it's true, right? But not in a good way. And these are the kinds of things that employees tell us they experience in terms of retaliation, right? My desk was moved closer to the window. My desk was moved closer to the bathroom. My desk was moved further from the bathroom. We did an office reorganization, and I wound up with the one that used to be a closet. Right? You have to talk to your managers about the fact that they need to be conscious of this kind of fear. So ask yourself, how are you talking to your managers about non-retaliation? What does it look like? How are people raising their hand? I was afraid to report it, but I did make a TikTok about it. This is coming, right? This is coming. If you haven't already gotten a TikTok as a way of reporting a particular concern, without question, these new methods of raising concerns are coming.